Hello once again, Richard here. Welcome. Let's see what the question is today. Oh, this is not good English. Pardon the English, I didn't write it. I don't know who did, but not good English. But I don't interfere with the questions. I always read them exactly as they are, even if they're grammatically terrible. You should see some of them. All right, here it is. Why is it that in games, sports, or anything else people like to see, offence, attacking and action more than defence and patience? There's a couple of words missing out of there, but that's the question. And to be honest, the answer for me is that I just don't get it. I never have. But I think I always look under the surface of anything. I always try to see what others don't see. I was an only child. I grew up amusing myself. I read books, I climbed trees, I ran through miles and miles of bushland. I live in Australia. I jumped creeks, I fell into creeks. I sketched. Late at night I listened to my crystal radio. I never developed a need to keep company with others. I was a loner. When I went to school, I was absolutely amazed and confused as to why football was the subject of most conversations. Now, some of you will probably be already upset with me, but bear with me, it's just my opinions. When I went to a technical college for boys, it got worse. All I ever heard from my peers was football. Did you see the game on Saturday? Who did you barrack for? Did you see Ron Barassi take that high mark? Are you going to watch the replay? Etc, etc, etc. To make matters worse, I was forced to play football. It didn't make any difference if it was pouring with rain or the sun was burning us from above. The level of testosterone was extremely high. The show of aggression was equally high. If you didn't care for any of this, you were branded a weakling or an AH. You work it out. After sloshing around in the mud for an hour, you then got to shower with these rowdy, aggressive, intolerant, sweaty, stinky, BO-emitting thugs. I remember sitting in a bus on the way to a game away with all these delightful characters and being punched in the face, which split my lip, just for looking in this chap's direction. And of course, this was a member of our own school team. We went out and played in the pouring rain and got back on the bus covered in mud. But here's the thing, they all seemed to absolutely love every minute of this strange activity. Not only did they enjoy it, they went home and watched more of it at home on TV. The very next day they would show up at school and discuss football and agonise over the details over and over again. I went home, turned on the TV, and guess what I got? Football. Turn the channel, football. Turn, football. As I grew up, I began to question everything, including football, and I came to the conclusion that it was a kind of religion. It was a ritual, saturated, intensive dogma which included hero worship, habitual and constant aggressive competition. These practices included automatic hatred for the other team and for the stars of the other team, endless rehashing of the many games happening across the whole country, constant talk shows, reruns, debate panels, sale of promotional merchandise, books, etc, 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 and it took up half of the news time. As I thought about it, I realised that most people who were followers and admirers were not actually thinking for themselves. They were, and still are, brainwashed into a pattern of behavioural belief and complete dedication which had become the most important thing in their lives. What did it take to brainwash a nation into such a high degree? What did it take to saturate the minds of the people into a systematic and habitual way of life which would keep a hold on them like a vice for their whole lives? Answer: millions and millions, probably now billions, of dollars invested in the indoctrination of the public. Advertising at every available location. Huge sponsorships from gigantic corporations like cigarette companies and beer companies, etc. The vehicle for all this unwavering support and unquestioning loyalty is one very powerful ingredient: aggression. Encouraged at every level of society. This is the equation. Money plus aggression equals success through endless competition. This principle applies to other sports, of course, but you have to admit the almighty football has always been at the top of the game. I had a boss once who was a dedicated follower. He was like a zealous missionary, trying his absolute best to convert me. He pummeled me week after week and year after year. Eventually he bought tickets to a grand final between Richmond and Collingwood, the Tigers and the Magpies. We drove through heavy traffic for an hour and a half to get to the stadium. We had to park miles away. We queued up for what seemed like ages, squashed up against rowdy, already excited, dedicated fans. We paid twice what we should have for hot dogs and drinks. We filed along cold concrete corridors, round and around, till we found our cold concrete seats, which we would sit on till we froze. The noise was deafening. People were jumping up and down in their seats. This probably kept them warm. And might I say that the fans were just as aggressive as the players. The players were way off down in the distance, on the field, running up and down, goalpost from goalpost to goalpost. I was bored to tears and very uncomfortable, but luckily I had a small paperback in my pocket. My boss, who paid for all this mayhem and organised chaos, spotted me reading and I thought he was going to cry. We were nearly squashed like ripening bananas as we made our way out of the stadium. The car park was like a scene from the starting of a race at Le Mans. We walked back to where we were parked and joined the many lines of competing traffic to find our way home. I liked this boss very much, but you can only imagine the relentless tongue lashings I was subjected to over the next week or so. He just couldn't get his conditioned mind around the fact that there are actually people who can survive very well without the religion they call football. Just remember, aggression can and is harnessed and monetized every day. The players, the heroes, are always in court for acts of violence. When interviewed, they can only stick to one subject, and by now you know what that subject is. Herd mentality, collective consciousness, is alive and well across the globe. And while the masses are distracted by the great football, the elites of the world are taking control and corralling us for even greater exploitation. In my working life, I have met and shaken hands with many men who greet you not with hello, but with, "What team do you barrack for?" I have grown to hate football. I have nothing against people who want to love it, but I will not have it shoved down my throat like other religions. We have another religion taking the masses by storm and using aggression to indoctrinate the masses. It's called UFC. Go figure. So there you have it. Thanks for reading, thanks for watching, and thanks for the question. Until we meet again, take care.